And
25th of January, Rabbi Levitt, Pele, Yoetz.
okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for recording, Lou.
You're welcome.
We're up to page 204. We finished page 203 yesterday. Round of applause. Page 203 and Albana.
I'm sorry, you took what?
Raffles mouse.
Oh, okay.
It's working.
It's working?
I think so.
All right. So when you get a chance, bring back the other mouse and I'll try and get it to work on Rafa's computer.
Versus, I'm gonna buy a mouse. My trackpad isn't working. So
Okay, we're up to Halicha, walking.
Okay.
So we ask Eliezer to start off for us.
Why am I always so lucky?
You have the Hebrew name. We like to read Hebrew.
Okay. Halicha, I guess like it says just walking. Halicha yesh bo sod meira al derech. Walking has a basis in evil on the way.
Sur, to go away from.
To avoid.
Sur meira, yaseh tov.
To avoid. Okay, fine. Okay, Dixiv, because Pasuk in Tehillim says, "Asher isha shelo halech be'atzas rishayim." Happy is the person who does not follow in the ways or walk in the ways of the wicked. Ukmo she'amru, just like we say in Bava Metzia, shekish halech davar mitzvah skar pesios yesh. When somebody goes to do a mitzvah, there's benefit for each of the steps that he takes. V'amru, we also say shemikol pesios nivra mahalach echad, that for every step a person takes,
Yeah.
Nivra mahalach malach. Oh, Nivra malach. He creates one malach for him. So all the as a person is walking to do good, benefits from every step he takes along the way.
Incredible.
Gamet zeh luma zeh sheholech lidvar avera, and this also comes to exclude that somebody who goes to do who's walking to do an avera, the yedias hafrim achasi, and the knowledge of the other way is the knowledge of the opposite is one thing. I'm not quite sure what he's saying here.
Okay, so he used a couple expressions over here. So first he said it on the positive note.
Right. And he's saying
the
lehefek on the other side.
Now he says gam azeh lu'umazeh. And that's an expression that's taken from Pasuk, I think in Gehelis, and also this corresponds is as in opposition to that, this opposite that on the other side, kishaholik the dvar avera, when he goes to do a dvar avera, so then he has this expression over here. It's a bit remote for us. We're not used to this expression. Yedias hahafachim achasi. So they translate it over here as what?
I'm saying the knowledge of these opposites is one thing. You understand one side, you understand the other side. Is that something like that? Is what he's saying?
In other words, he's saying on the opposite side, it's also the case. It's also emes. on the other side as well. That if he goes to do a dvar aver, he doesn't want to speak it out.
Aha. He says it's a
That you
remnant.
get a bad malach for every step. He doesn't want to speak it out, so I shouldn't speak it out either, I guess. But that's what he means. I'm just
It's a
explaining what it
remnant.
is.
Right.
Intention is,
Gotcha.
yes.
Gotcha. Okay. V'ashrami shehu kalu b'bayis miyoshev beis medrash, and
Oh.
happy is one who leaves his house to sit in the base medrash.
Kalu babayis. Kalu,
What's-
he is he's contained over there. Mishahu kalu babayis miyoshve beis medrash. Meaning which house are we talking about? From those that sit in the base medrash. Fortunate is he.
So how do you tie that sentence then? 'Cause
Kalu, this word kalu means that he's like he's glued over there. He's that's where he's stuck
in his house or in the base medrash?
in the base medrash.
Ah, okay, fine. Ki alicha bein anashim he hachana lachatayim becharisha lizroyim. Excuse me, kacharisha lizroyim. Because walking between people, okay, that is a preparation for a chait, just like sowing is a like plowing is a preparation for sowing.
Oy vey.
The takef kishaholech leishev bein hanashim shelo almanas la'asok b'Torah, and he's warned. You should warn somebody who goes to sit between people that is not for the purpose of being involved in Torah. Hare raglav lechushtayim who gashu yetzer hara perish reshes l'raglav. Okay. His feet.
Raglav lenehushtayim. Gashu. The word from the word nachash.
It's like a snake.
Over here, I don't know either. It's a bit of a also a never heard of this expression that he uses over here. They translate it over here as his legs are set in chain.
And the Yetzer Hara Parash Reshet Laraglav puts or separates a reshet is like a rainbow or a crown or something from his feet.
A net.
A net.
Parash,
Okay, a net.
Parash, he spreads out a net
A
over
net on his feet to keep him restricted. Hazaraso Kupa Shel Shratzim Avonos V'Shoim Tolu Lo Me'acharav. And he gets a hat of disgusting objects and his sins and his various Avonos V'Shoim are hanging after him. That's a toughie.
He's not a big fan of having to walk to the marketplace just to shoot the breeze with the people that are over there.
Yep.
He says better you should be glued to the base medrash and you don't go outside and get into trouble with speaking and dealing with other people. That seems to be the message over here.
Okay.
This is the story with the Dubid what's it called? Dubna Magid.
Right.
Right. The Vilna Gaon told the Dubna Magid to give him Musar, so he said, it's very easy to be a Gaon. You sit here the whole day. You don't go out and you're learning the whole day. Yeah, it's easy to be a goan like that. Let's say you go out into the marketplace and go outside and deal with people and also be a goan like that. So what did the goan say? He said, "Bin ich kein Kunstenmacher. I'm not a magician. In order to avoid all of the fallout of what that would entail, is I also that's why I'm staying where I am." That's basically what he told him. He wasn't. That's actually one version of his response. The other version of his response is that he broke down in sobs and cries, and he said, "You're right, but there's no other way. There's no other way. Ein derech acher." Okay, so that's where he's coming from. So very good. So okay, so we'll continue now. Thanks to Eliezer for working on that reading. It's a lot harder to read the Hebrew and to translate it than it is to just rattle off the English, especially with all these expressions here. I never known some of these expressions. Very, very unusual ones. Okay. So we are up in the English. We're up to behold, just the last line on page 204. So we'd like to go to Roy to continue.
Oh, the evil inclination shows its hooves, like a pig whose hooves are kosher, and it proposes 70 explanations to permit a prohibited animal. Tells him that it is appropriate to be socially pleasant with other people for the sake of peace. By going out to see the state of affairs, his eyes will see, he will know the problems of the land, and he will be able to mend its fences. Sometimes as a result of these matters, he will even accomplish some good by speaking words of moral perfection and of the fear of God, which will straighten out his friends. But a person who is God-fearing will not agree to go with the evil inclination, and his legs will take him to the Beit Midrash. A questionable gain does not trump a certain loss. A man must calculate the loss of a mitzvah and the lost opportunity to study Torah. For better is 1 hour of Torah study than all of the world to come, and that which he loses, that is, that he might come to speak prohibited words, see prohibited things, and many other such losses, versus the potential reward, perhaps a mitzvah might chance unto him. A person who fears God passionately desires his mitzvot, and from heaven they will provide opportunity for one who is restricted to his home to do them. And all the roads are assumed to be dangerous in Yerushalayim Berachos, and it's not proper for a man to go in a place where danger is prevalent, even for the sake of a mitzvah in Yoma 11a. If this is what our sages said in regard to bodily harm, how much more so must a person not endanger his soul?
Oh boy, wow. Okay. All right. Round of applause for page 204. All right. This is amazing. This is that's what he says. 1 hour of that's I believe a Mishnah in Avos, more or less.
Yeah.
An hour of Torah Masim Tovim. It says Yafa Achas, Torah Masim Tovim Ba'olam Hazeh, Mikol Chaye Olam Haba. The language of the Mishnah. And that's the translation over here that we rendered it. So he has an opportunity now to go and be osek b'Torah. And the Mishnah in Avos says that's better than all of Olam Haba, all of the reward that he's going to receive in Olam Haba for that 1 hour of Torah study. It's better than the hour of Torah study. Whatever the pshat in that is, but we hear that that's the thing to do. So that's basically what the Pele Yoetz is saying over here. If we have a choice, we have free time. We're not obligated to be osik in parnasa. We're not obligated to be osik in this or that or some other mitzvah. And we have the ability to sit and engage in Torah study. He says that is the first. He doesn't even mention about. I mean, maybe that's what he means over here when we know Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam is the greatest mitzvah. But he's saying over here in terms of he's going to protect himself from all types of spiritual fallout if he chooses that course of activity as opposed to any other course, even if he thinks that it's he's doing it for the sake of perhaps I'll be able to do a mitzvah of helping another Jew or teaching another Jew or some other thing that needs to be done, and I'll be there and I'll be able to do it. So he says, don't think like that. He says, if you have the opportunity to go and learn Torah, go and do that.
I have I won't call it a problem, but maybe a concern.
Yeah.
If the purpose of Israel being given the Torah was to be a light unto the nations, then to say that you should lock yourself in a base medrash and nobody should see you, and you shouldn't interact with anybody, and nobody should know what you're doing, seems to be diametrically opposed to that. I thought the purpose of us giving the Torah, of us being given the Torah, is that when we follow the laws of Hashem and show in public to the other nations how you can follow the words of Hashem and live a moral life. That's what we were created for. It wasn't, yes, learning Torah is important, but you learn to do. You don't learn to learn.
Oh, so in other words, when do we have, what's the halacha? Somebody is osik b'Torah and a mitzvah comes his way. What's he required to do?
He does the mitzvah.
He does the mitzvah. What happens if he's involved in any other mitzvah and another second mitzvah comes his way?
Osik min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah.
Pater from the other mitzvah. He's involved in doing a mitzvah right now, so he doesn't interrupt. So we do see this. We do see this that like you're saying, the Torah is and why does the Gemara in Yevamos over there say that we interrupt our Torah study in order to do this mitzvah? Quotes a pasuk, "V'lamadatim v'asisem." We see that the pasuk makes a smichus. It says "lamadatim," and you learn, v'asisem, and then you do. So learning is in order to do. So if in fact learning is in order to do, so then you're saying why should we we seem to be stuck on first base. We're involved in learning. We're not doing.
Yes, that's my question.
And you're also bringing up the idea of, well, how is it that we are going to be a light to the nations, or even to the Jewish people themselves, maybe? even.
Sure.
How are they
If,
going to know about us?
How will they know? Well, maybe that's why you have the New York Times and the Washington Post. They got reporters.
Oh, don't
Imagine
rely on
what-
them.
Oy vey, Zmir, chas v'sholem.
Shoot them all, shoot them all.
What would it be if every Jew, the only thing that he did, he went to the every Jew in Klal Yisrael, his whole life was he like they did in the Midbar, like they did in the Midbar. What did they do in the Midbar for 40 years? You know what they did?
I learned.
They had nothing else to do. There was nothing to do. Nothing to do. They were supposed to be the Dordea.
Right,
They were
but that
the
was
Dordea.
that was the sin of that generation. They didn't want to go into Eretz Yisrael because they wanted to spend all their time learning. But the purpose of the Torah was that they would go to the land of Israel and perform the mitzvahs to Ba'aretz and be able to do the mitzvahs. It wasn't that they would sit and learn all the time.
So I didn't tell you the other side of the halach over here. When you're learning Torah and there's a mitzvah presented your way, so we said yes, you get up and close the Gemara and go and do the mitzvah, right? There's a condition over there.
Nobody
One
else can
condition-
do the mitzvah.
That it's not possible that anybody else can do this mitzvah. Only you can do this mitzvah. If you're the only one who's able to do that mitzvah, it's like a mace mitzvah. There's a mace and no one else knows. So of course you have to do that mitzvah, because otherwise that mitzvah is not going to get done. So yes, that's what it means when we say lamadatim basisim. You learn, and then you do, because that's the greatness of Talmud. That's why Talmud is greater than Maaseh, greater than doing, because it leads to doing. So that's why we learn, because the whole reason why you're saying the importance of doing, you know why you say that, Eliezer? Because you learn a lot. People that don't learn a lot, they don't say that you need to do a lot. They say you got to do it. You have to do other things. There's other things in this world to do. So they end up not doing Torah and also not doing mitzvahs either, like they should. So it goes without saying, if they're not involved in doing mitzvahs, that the things that they're getting involved in are the things that the Pele Yoetz is warning us and trying to persuade us to be concerned about, lest we also fall into that trap as well. But so that, in other words, that's the perspective about Torah learning and doing the mitzvahs that we're learning the Torah, that it says to do all the mitzvahs. That's how we allocate. That's how we allocate it. If we have time to learn, we don't have a yoke on us of earning a livelihood. We don't have other family obligations or other obligations, and we have the opportunity to do a mitzvah right now. The mitzvah that we do is the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. And unless there's a mitzvah that presents its way, like a mace mitzvah, no one else can do it. So then we close the Gemara. We have to go do that mitzvah. If someone else is capable of doing it, let that other person who's not learning Torah, let that person do the mitzvah. The mitzvah will get done. And the person who's learning Torah should continue
should you tell the other person?
Tell the other person, can you do the mitzvah? You could tell him, are you capable of doing this mitzvah? Yeah, you could tell him that.
Hmm. Does that
If he
then
says, no, I'm not
absolve-
capable, I have to do something else, sorry, or I'm not interested, or whatever it is. If no one's doing the mitzvah and it needs to get done, it's a mace mitzvah. So you gotta close the Gemara and you gotta do it. Because otherwise, who's gonna bury this mace? Nobody is around to bury this mace. No one knows. So you have to do that mitzvah. That's why you who learn Torah, that you understand that is what has to be done. Absolutely. The other. Right, but yeah, if there's somebody there who's available, and he doesn't realize, you could point out to him, it'd be a good, very very big, very good thing for you to take care of this mitzvah over here, take care of this good deed, however it is that you want to say it to him. Right, you're being mazaka him, really, right? I mean, otherwise, what was he doing? And now he's going to be doing a great mitzvah. Wonderful. So you gave him a great merit. So now now that mitzvah is going to get done, and that's the main thing, that the mitzvah gets done, and that the Torah was not unnecessarily rather, the Torah was not unnecessarily nullified. So that's why we're careful with it is 100% true that the Torah is in order to do, but we don't unnecessarily close the Gemara. That's the point. And those are the guidelines of what's called unnecessary.
But what about a mitzvah, mitzvahs like Simchas Chassan and Kala, where you aren't necessarily the only person who can be Misamech to Chassan and Kala, but the fact that more people do it increases the simcha, increases the value, increases the nature of the mitzvah. So
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I could tell you what the rules were in my the places that I learned in on that matter.
Mm-hmm.
There was rules. Generally the idea was that if you were someone who was a friend of the chassan,
Sure. Okay.
so then you're his friend. He needs you there.
Mm-hmm.
He needs you there. So you're going. Let's say you weren't really his friend, right? You know him, whatever it is, but you weren't really so close. Okay?
Right.
I mean, it depends on the size of the yeshiva. It depends on the size
Sure.
of the kollel, right?
Sure.
So in that case, maybe it's not necessary for you to go. You stay and hold down the fort in the yeshiva, in the kollel,
Okay.
right? We don't empty out the whole yeshiva, the whole kollel, just because somebody has a bris or a chasna or a pidyon ben or something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are important to be there, they are there.
Okay.
If, on the other hand, there's another example, and you had this, I guess, during the corona, there was people that the friends and the relatives were not able to be there, or it was snowing, and nobody could get there, and you're next door. You
Right.
have a chavrusa tonight. So that's sort of like a mace mitzvah, even though you may not know this person. But what should be? He should have his chasna and nobody's going to be there.
We saw many chasnas like that. We saw many chasnas like that.
There were so many like that, huh?
Yeah.
So ask the people, ask the Bali Simcha, the chassan and the kala, that chasna. How is it like for you to have your chasna and you don't have any of your friends there, and you don't have anybody else there either? You know, so it's that's right. That's also a possible chiyuv to close the gemara as well.
Okay.
But that's the point. We don't unnecessarily close the gemara just because there's a mitzvah, and just because that's the whole reason why we learn Torah, in order to do mitzvahs, because that's the balance. That's the balance.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The next paragraph. Lou, would you like to continue?
Torah scholar?
Yeah.
Must not listen to the enchanters. What are enchanters?
The enchanter.
Is there a Hebrew?
Yeah.
Malachas. He was Malachashim. I guess he's like, entertainers.
Malachashim. Okay. Who whisper and say, I'm sorry?
Yeah, we had this word in the Torah, right? Nichush, the Isser of Nichush. And we translated it that it does have something to do with black magic and magic and these types of things. So he's using that word, I guess. Oh, actually, you know what he's doing? He's making a play on words, actually, because, right? Lachash, the word lamed ches shin. What is that word?
Silent, quiet.
Yeah, it's like people that are saying. So it's really, I would have translated as the whisperers. The murmuring of the whisperers that are whispering this. They don't. They would be afraid to say this to the Talmud Chacham, but they're whispering one to another this thing that he's about to say.
Whisper and say, it is the way of Torah scholars and the great sages of Israel to go out from time to time to the outskirts of the city, like on Friday, Motzei Shabbos, or on a summer evening to stroll. These people are agents of the evil inclination, and this is one of their weapons. You shall respond to them, leave the great sages of Israel alone. We know what has been done. Our intentions are pleasing to heaven, and we have not but what our Torah says. This book of Torah will not leave your mouth. And it is written, you do not abandon me until my saliva is swallowed, which our sages explain means that a man will be held accountable in the world to come, even for the time it takes to swallow his saliva, when he could have been studying the Torah. Woe unto us from the day of judgment, from the day of rebuke. There is no better strolling than in the Beit Midrash, which is the orchard of the righteous, and causes them to stroll in Gan Eden. A comparison can be made to an employer who is engrossed with his workers and accounts. He is not concerned with public honor, does not socialize with others, or just take a stroll. All the more so, we must do the same, for the day is short and the work is great and longer than the earth. Would that a man lives thousands of years, they will not suffice. Time is precious, and every moment that he wastes is a tremendous loss that cannot be replaced. The masters of moral perfection wrote that this can be compared to someone who they tell to enter a great treasure house of golden coins, and that he may keep whatever he counts. He will not sleep, slumber, be tired, or strained by counting with all of his strength. How much more so must a person be diligent to earn his portion in the world to come and to provide satisfaction to his creator? Regarding this, it says, if you seek it like money and search for it like hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of God. So this is the beginning sentence when it says you shouldn't listen to the whisperers.
Yeah.
Who are these whisperers? What's it talking about? I can understand the rest of the paragraph, but this introduction.
Well, he's saying that the whisperers come up to the Talmidei Chacham and say, listen, Talmidei Chachamim, they take some time off, to go out and take a spazier. You don't need to sit here all the time. Go take a spazier, get some fresh air, da-da-da-da-da. Trying to encourage them, I guess, is the right, to be Mevatel Torah.
Do such people really exist?
That's what the Yetzer Hara is.
Okay, so why doesn't it say should not listen to the Yetzer Hara?
He's describing the Yetzer Hara, one of the ways he presents himself. The word Yetzer Hara is just a general reference to this entity. But this is.
Well, no, he calls them these people. It's not just the Yetzer Hara; they're people, and that's what they say.
Yeah, the Yetzer Hara probably has influenced them to say this.
Absolutely, that's absolutely correct.
So that's how they.
They didn't learn this idea that they're saying in the base medrash. No, they didn't learn it in the Svarim. This idea. Let them go out and let them take a stroll and let them take the night off and let them rest a little bit and let them. That's not the. Now, of course, there are situations. We'll say this, right? The Chafetz Chaim himself, and many other Torah scholars as well. There was times in the Chafetz Chaim's life, I think it was even a whole year, that he had applied himself to such an extent, or that he was just he was not able to really. There was about a year's time, I believe, that he wasn't able to keep his schedule that he had up until that time, and he
was sick.
I don't know if he was sick, but he was not capable. He was not capable of keeping the schedule, and he didn't. And there's I think it's printed in the book if I remember correctly, that 12 o'clock came in the yeshiva in Radin, where he was the head of the yeshiva. He would close. He would go out and put out the candles and the oil lamps and tell everybody it's time to that's it for night Seder, gentlemen. No learning the whole night. And what was his calculation for doing so? Because tomorrow is also a day. And you have to keep a consistency. But but until that's what Talmidei Chachamim do. They kill themselves over the Torah. That's what they do. But sometimes we see that sometimes we see that they lose their abilities, but sometimes they don't. So that's the thing. So
Burnout.
in other words, in that situation like that, that person does have to rest. If he's not capable and he needs to regain his strength, and otherwise he could become even more weak than he is now. The answer is not to say, oh, I'm not going to listen to the Yetzer Hara, and I'm going to continue to knock away and not take any time off. No, he's got at that point he's got to take off. But if you're talking to a Torah scholar who's keeping a very demanding schedule, but he's healthy, he's doing well, so people might say, oh, he's gonna burn out. Oh, he's not gonna be successful like that if he keeps on like that. He needs to take off time. He needs to relax. He needs to go for a stroll. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. The Pele Yoetz is saying, no, that's not what he needs to do. If everything is going as it's supposed to go, he's steiging and he's knocking and he's doing well. So let him keep going. Hashem is gonna take care of him. If he sees and we see that his health is failing him, okay, so that's what we see. So in that case, then maybe he needs to take to lessen the demanding schedule that he's demanding of himself, in order to regain his abilities. And we see that this is what some of the greatest scholars in Klal Yisrael, we see that's what happened to them, and that's what they did. But barring that situation, that's what the Pele Yoetz is talking about. Right? This is a person who is and this person, if you'll ask, is this person happy doing this? All he's doing is learning. All he's doing is knocking. All he's doing is steiging. Is he able to hold out like that? Is he happy with this? Well, if he is, so then don't say, oh, you can't do that. You're not going to be happy with this. He's doing it. He does like it. He wants to do this. But somebody who's a quote unquote average guy, so you don't tell him you got to learn 18 hours a day. He'll learn however, his schedule is whatever the yeshiva demands him to do, and that's what he does, and that's good, because that's what he can do, and that's what he's like that. He's happy to do that, and everything is good. So there are, right. He's not he's not you can't force somebody to learn 18 hours a day. That's only comes if it comes from them, that's what they want to do. And okay, you could have the mashgiach get up and say a shmooze that's what we're we have to every moment that we have, we consecrate it to Torah study. That's what the shmooze is about. Everybody knows that's what he says. What do you want him to say? You want him to say, oh, you want him to get up in front of the yeshiva and say, everybody, you got to make very, very sure, don't learn too much, because you might get sick, you might lose your kochos, you might burn out. They don't talk like that. So you want to know why is they don't talk like that? Because if somebody comes and says, oh, Mashgiach, I'm burning out, I can't do this. So okay, so he'll say, listen, the shmooze that I said was for everybody in the yeshiva that was listening, and it speaks to them. It doesn't speak to you? Good. So you do what you can. You have to observe the rules of the yeshiva, right? You have to learn night seder. You're a yeshiva bacher. Yeah, that's part of the rules of the yeshiva, that you learn, at least an hour at night. But you don't have to learn 18 hours a day. No one. I'm not telling you to do that. I wasn't talking to you. That's what the mashgiach will tell this boy.
Time's up.
Okay.
Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
All the best to Eliezer and to Meir.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Be well.
Thank you, Rabbi.